When they reached the fort, Amr told those two men to go on top and inform him what they saw. They went on top and said that they saw some riders coming towards them. Hearing this, Amr dismounted from his horse and entered the cave, while his horse fled away. When he entered the cave, a black serpent, who had taken shelter therein, bit him. When the riders reached near, they saw his horse running and concluded that Amr should be somewhere near. They started searching for him and found him inside the cave, and wherever they touched his body, the flesh thereat came out due to the lethal poison. Then they beheaded him and took his head to Muawiyah, who ordered it to be placed on the lance, this being the first head in Islam, which was placed on the lance. As with Zahir, who was martyred with Imam Hussein, in Karbala, was the retainer of Amr ibn Humak. He was the same person who had buried him. It is related in Qamqam, that Amr ibn Humak was from the progeny of Kahan ibn Habib ibn Amr ibn Kain ibn Zara ibn Amr Rabi'a Khuzai. He came to the presence of Prophet Muhammad after the peace treaty of Hudaybiyah. While some are of the opinion that he accepted Islam in the year of the farewell pilgrimage Hajjatul Wida, but the first report seems to be more reliable. He remained in the presence of the Prophet and memorized numerous traditions. The author of the book Qamqam relates from Amr ibn Humak that he quenched the thirst of the Prophet, who prayed for him thus: O Lord, grant him a youthful life. Thus, he remained alive for 80 years. But none of the hair of his beard turned white. He was included among the Shia of Imam Ali, and fought the battles of Jamal, Siffin and Naharwan along with him. Besides, he was among those who stood up to support Hujr ibn Adi and was among his companions. He left Iraq in fear of Ziyad and took refuge in the cave in Mosul. The governor of Mosul sent his soldiers to arrest him. When they entered the cave, they found him to be dead because a snake bit him. His grave is renowned in Mosul, and is a place for pilgrimage, and he holds a great position. A dome is erected upon his grave. Abu Abdullah Sayyid ibn Hamadan, the cousin of Sayfud Dawla and Nasiruddin Dawla, started its renovation in the month of Shaban 336 AH. There ensued clashes between the Shia and the Sunni because of the building of his shrine. Sheikh Kashshi relates that he was among the disciples of Imam Ali, and among the foremost who turned towards him. In the book Iqtisas it has been enumerated, regarding the preceding and close companions of Imam Ali, that Ja'far ibn Husayn relates from Muhammad ibn Ja'far Mu'adab that he said, Imam Ali's 4 pillars from among the companions of the Holy Prophet are Salman, Miqdad, Abu Dhar and Ammar. And among the Tabi'in are Oway ibn Anis Karni, who will intercede in Qiyamah for the people equal to the tribes of Rabia and Muzar, and Amr ibn Humak. Ja'far ibn Husayn says that Amr ibn Humak enjoyed the same status near Imam Ali, as Salman had near the Holy Prophet. Then, there are Rushayd al-Hajari, Maitham at-Tamar, Kumail ibn Ziyad Naqi, Kambar the freed retainer of Imam Ali, Muhammad ibn Abu Bakr, Muzar, the freed retainer of Imam Ali, and Abdullah ibn Yahya, regarding whom, on the day of Jamal, Imam said, O son of Yahya, I give glad tidings that you and your father are among the Shartachal Kamis. One Allah has chosen you on the Empyrean. Thus, those referred to as Shartachal Kamis are those warriors of the army between whom and Imam Ali, a covenant shart was entered. 2. Then there are Janad ibn Zuhair Amiri, while all the progeny of Amir were the Shia of Imam Ali Habib ibn Mujahir Asadi, Al-Harth ibn Abdullah Awar Hamadani, Malik ibn Haraith Ashtar, Alam Azdi, Abu Abdullah Jadali, Juwaira ibn Musa'ir Abadi. In the same book it is related that Amr ibn Humak told Imam Ali, that, I have not come to you in pursuit of wealth or prestige of this world, but have come to you for you are the cousin of the Prophet, and best among all men and the husband of Fatima, the mistress of women, and the father of the Prophet's progeny, and your share is more than any other emigrant muhajir or helper ansar. By Allah, if you command me to shift the mountains from their place and pull out the water from the deep seas, I shall obey you until death overtakes me. I will always strike your enemies with the sword in my hand and shall assist your friends, and may Allah elevate your position and grant you victory. Even then I do not believe that I may have accomplished what is due towards you. Imam Ali prayed for him thus. O Allah, illuminate his heart and guide him towards the right path. I wish there were 100 similar to you among my Shia. In the same book it is related that at the beginning of Islam, Amr ibn Humak was a keeper of camels of his tribe. His tribe was under the pledge with Prophet Muhammad s. Once some of the Prophet's companions passed by him, whom the Prophet s had sent to propagate. They had asked the Prophet s that they did not have the provisions for their journey nor knew the way. The Prophet replied that, on the way you shall meet a handsome man who will feed you, quench your thirst and guide you to the path, and he shall be of the people of paradise. They reached Amr, who fed them with camel meat and milk, and his coming to the presence of the Prophet s and accepting Islam until the caliphate reached Muawiyah. Then he remained aloof from the people in Zor in Mosul. Muawiyah wrote to him, Now then, Allah extinguished the fire of battle and cooled down the mischief. And Allah bestowed success to the pious. You are not distant nor more guilty than your friends, they have bowed down their heads in front of my command and have hastened to assist me in my task. But you still remain withdrawn, thus come to assist me in my task so that your past sins may be forgiven by it. And your good deeds which have worn out may ripen. Perhaps I may not be as bad as my predecessors. If you are self-respecting, abstemious, obedient and well-behaved, then enter the security of Allah and the Prophet of Allah in my refuge. Cleanse your heart of envy and your soul from rancor. And Allah is a sufficient witness. Amr refused to go to Muawiyah, hence he sent someone who killed him and brought his head to Muawiyah. They sent his head to his wife, who kept it in her lap, and said, For a long time you had kept him away from me, and now you have killed him and have brought him to me as a gift. How fair is this gift which is my pleasure and who also liked me? O Messenger, take my message to Muawiyah and tell him that Allah will surely take revenge for his blood, and very soon his wrath and woe will hasten. You have committed a grievous crime and killed a devout and pious person. O Messenger, convey to Muawiyah whatever I have said. The messenger conveyed her message to Muawiyah, hence Muawiyah called the woman to him and inquired of her, Did you utter these words? She replied that, Yes, I have said them, and I do not regret, nor am sorry for it. Muawiyah told her to go away from his town, to which she replied that, I will surely do so, for your town is not my native place and I consider it to be a prison, which has no place in my heart. Much time has passed when I have not slept herein, while my tears are constantly flowing. My debt has increased here, and I have not found anything here which would illuminate my eyes. Abdullah ibn Abi Sar Kalbi told Muawiyah, O commander of the faithful, she is a hypocrite woman, let her follow her husband. When the woman heard this, she looked towards him and said, O you ulcer of a frog! Haven't you killed the one who clothed you with blessings and bestowed a cloak upon you? Indeed, you have abandoned the religion, and verily a hypocrite is the one who pursues unjustly and claims to be one of the servants of Allah, and Allah has condemned his infidelity in the Quran. Hearing this, Muawiyah ordered his porter to throw her out. She said, Astonishment at the son of Hind, who has signaled by his finger and has tried to stop me from using a harsh tongue, by Allah, I shall split open his belly with my harsh speech sharp as iron, if not I be Amina, the daughter of Rashid. Imam Husayn, in his letter to Muawiyah wrote, Are you not the murderer of Amr ibn Humak, the companion of the Prophet s, and a devout man, whose body had become slender and whose color had turned pale due to excessive worship? With what face did you give him the promise of security? And promised him in the name of Allah, if similarly, it would have been given to a bird, it would have come down from the mountain in your lap. Then you confronted Allah and deemed the promise to be low. 3:1. It is narrated that it was asked to Asbag ibn Nabat Majashi as to why Imam Ali a.s. had referred to him and other men like him as Shartach al-Kamis, to which he replied that, It is so because we had covenanted with him, that we would fight on his side until we attained victory, or are killed. Then he too covenanted and stood surety that he would send us to paradise in reward of this struggle. An army is also referred to as Kamis because it is comprised of 5 sections. Muqaddama front wing, Qalb central wing, Maymana right wing, Maysara left wing, and Saka rear wing. 2. Muntahal Amal. 3. Nafas al-Mamum by Sheikh Abbas al-Kumi. shares. Many, whose hands and feet were amputated, and pins reddened in fire were thrust into their eyes, and some others were buried alive. The evil propaganda of Muawiyah and his agents in Syria and other Islamic territories misled the people. Whosoever uttered a word against Muawiyah was treated to be a murderer of Uthman, and shedding his blood was considered lawful. Credulous persons, who are numerous in all ages, and are easily impressed by evil propaganda, came to believe that Uthman's blood was shed without any justification. And those, who were satisfied with this act deserved to be punished. This was how Muawiyah and his agents poisoned the public mind. The Khawarij, too, who were inimical towards both Muawiyah and Imam Ali, kept quiet regarding Muawiyah on account of fear, but abused the commander of the faithful openly and treated him to be an infidel. This thing in itself rendered great help to Muawiyah and created a grudge in the hearts of the people against Imam Ali, and his followers, so much so that when on the day of Ashura Imam Hussein mentioned the reason for his coming towards Kufa and then asked his opponents as to why they had gathered to kill him, they replied, "It is due to the grudge, which we have against your father." 1. Imam Ali spoke about the Umayyads in a sermon from Najul Balagha. By Allah, they would continue like this till there would be left no unlawful act before Allah, but they would make it lawful, and no pledge but they would break it, until there would remain no house of bricks or of woolen tents but their oppression would enter it. Their bad dealings would make them wretched, till two groups of crying complainants would rise, one would cry for his religion and the other for this world, and the help of one of you to one of them would be like the help of a servant to his master, namely when he is present, he obeys him, but when the master is away he backbites him. The highest among you in distress would be he who bear best belief about Allah. If Allah grants you safety, accept it, and if you are put in trouble, endure it, because surely good result is for the God-fearing too. In 659 Muawiyah stepped up his war of nerves against Ali, and sent several contingents into Jazira. And he is to terrify people and to destroy their morale. His policy at first was to strike a spark of terror, and then to let the fire do the rest, but his captains soon changed it into a scene of violence and death. In Jazira, Niman ibn Bashir attacked Ain at Tamar with 2,000 men. Sufyan ibn Auf attacked Anbar and Madain with 6,000 soldiers. Abdullah ibn Masada Fizari attacked Tima with a force of 1,700, and Za'ak ibn Qays and his followers laid waste the township of Waqsa. They killed all those men, women, and children whom they suspected to be friendly to Ali, and they plundered the public treasury wherever they found one. 3. The acquisition of Egypt immeasurably strengthened Muawiyah's hands. He then sent units of his army into Hijaz, Jazira and Iraq. They went around plundering, spreading terror, and killing. Muawiyah attacked the banks of the Tigris in person and seized the public treasury in Jazira. 4. Muawiyah and his generals had adopted a policy of waging irregular warfare against the successor of the Prophet of Islam and the sovereign of all Muslims. To them irregular warfare meant unconventional warfare, limited conventional military actions, and unlimited terrorism. They plunged the Dar al-Islam into a trauma from which it has never recovered. In 660, Muawiyah sent Bizr ibn Artad with 3,000 soldiers to Hijaz in Yemen on a rampage of pillaging, destroying, burning and killing. In Yemen, Bizr killed with his own hands the infant twins of Ubaydullah ibn Abbas, who was the governor of that province. When he returned to Syria, gorged on innocent blood. Tens of thousands of Muslims had been killed. One of the governors of Ali, in a frontier district, was Kumail ibn Ziyad. He sought his master's permission to raid Syria. Such raids into Syria, he said, would compel Muawiyah to halt his own raids into Hijaz and Iraq. But his application drew forth a characteristic reply from Ali, who wrote to him, "I hardly expected you to suggest that we raid the towns and villages in Syria. It is true that the Syrians are our enemies, but they are also human beings, and what's more, they are Muslims. If we send raiding parties into Syria, it is most probable that the victims of our punitive action will not be the Syrian marauders who violate our borders but the Syrian civil population, the non-combatant folks. Is it, therefore, right and fair to plunder and